everyone. Today we are going to continue our chapter on personal selling and focus on today's lesson, 26.2, which is specifically focusing on the selling process. So, our objectives for today are to describe ways to prepare to sell, list the steps in the sales process, and explain ways to handle a lost sale. Key terms that we're going to be focusing on are pre approach, feature benefit selling, lead, cold calling, approach, service approach, grading approach, merchandise approach, substitute selling, objection, excuse, close, buying signal, overselling, and suggestion selling. The pre approach is the task performed before contact is made with a customer. So, prior to actually selling a product, there needs to be some steps taken by the salesperson in order to properly prepare to begin selling. So, product training is the first step for a salesperson to understand the product and accurately answer customer questions. It's really important for the person who is involved in selling to actually know what the product is. As a teenager and in college, I used to work at a restaurant. And anytime there were new things offered on the menu, they would always let the customers try the new items so that they could properly explain them to the customers if there was a question. So that's really important is knowing your products. Um, the marketing team ahead of time is also going to provide catalogs, brochures, and other materials for feature benefit selling. And feature benefit selling is a method of showing the major selling features of the product and how it benefits the customers. This can also be called solution selling. So that's one thing that's going to be set up ahead of time for these different types of marketing materials to be provided to the salesperson, and so that they can be fully educated in the materials that they are going to be sharing with the customers. Also, pricing is reviewed, and any types of pricing structures are reviewed, especially if installations are involved, things along those natures. And then any other formal and informal training. So, you also need to, prior to selling, is identify potential customers. These can also be called leads or prospects. So, in retail, the customers may walk into the store and you're just looking for someone who's looking around and looks like they need help. Identifying sales leads is used most often, though, in B2B sales. So that's going to start with a list of contacts. So qualifying the lead is going to help salespeople learn about the customer and whether a sale could be made before calling on him or her. So, for example, if a new restaurant is coming into town, you want to be their food supplier, you want to find out if they already have a food supplier, if it's a brand new restaurant or just a restaurant opening another location. If it's a brand new restaurant, they probably already don't have a relationship with a food supplier, and so you might want to become that supplier. Cold calling is a process of making contact with people who are not expecting a sales contact. So, just calling people out of the blue, seeing if they're interested in buying a product or becoming a customer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through the sales process. And the sales process is a series of steps that a salesperson goes through to help the customer make a satisfying buying decision. So I'm going to talk about each of these steps individually, but the sales process steps in order are to approach the customer, determine their needs, present the product or service, answer questions or objectives, then close the sale and provide follow up after the sale. So, the first step in the sales process is the approach. So, the approach is where the salesperson makes the first in person contact with a potential customer. Many think that customers decide within 4 minutes whether they want to continue working with you. So you have to make sure that you make a really good impression. So you do this by getting the customer's attention. There's a couple of ways we can do that I'm going to talk about in a second. Then project a positive professional image of yourself and your products. You want to show true concern and interest in the needs of the customer. A lot of times people think of salespeople as just trying to um, benefit themselves. And so you want to make sure, as a salesperson, that you are showing true interest in the needs of the customer. You want to show that you're trustworthy and you're honest, and you want to make the customer feel comfortable. Now, there's a couple of different approaches. So it depends on if you're a business or if you're approaching a business or a customer. So, in a B2B customer approach, the salesperson is usually going to make an appointment. So, for that new restaurant, they're going to call them and say, "Hi, I'm a food distributor. I'd like to come in and show you what products we have to offer. When is a good time for me to come in and give you that information?" Or same thing with like a pharmaceutical sales rep. They're going to go into a doctor's office, but they're going to make an appointment to make sure that they're coming at a time where they don't have a lot of patients. When you do come in, you must be on time and ready to give your presentation. Much different than a B2C customer approach. This is a little bit more off the cuff. There's a couple of different approaches you can take. So the service approach starts with, "May I help you?" A greeting approach is just a simple, "Hi, how are you?" And then a merchandise approach is where the conversation is going to begin with a comment about the product, like, "Those shoes are half off today." The next step is to determine the customer's wants and needs, and you can do this either through observation, question, or listening. So, in B2B selling, the needs may be defined during the qualifying process. Like, they don't have a vegetable producer yet, and so you know that you can fill that role. In B2C selling, the needs will probably be determined during the approach. So, when you are approaching them and you say, "May I help you?" They might say, "Yes, I'm looking for a new television that is easy to mount." So that would be the needs. So many reasons why customers buy a product is include rational buying motives, emotional buying motives, or loyalty buying motives. And it's important for you to understand where the customer is at when you're determining their needs so that you can best help them. So, like I said, you can determine customers' needs through observations, question, and listening. Um, all very important when you are trying to best meet the wants and needs of your customers. Then you're going to present the product or the service. So you're going to select the appropriate product to show the customer based off of what their needs are. Now, there's also something called substitute selling, and that's showing products that are different from what was originally requested if the business does not have the product. Or you could also substitute sell if you think that you have a product that the customer might not know about, which, after finding out what their needs are, might meet their needs better. You could also prepare the product presentation. This is more likely going to happen in a B2B sales situation. In a B2C sales situation, the presentations are going to be very informal. "Well, let me show you these TVs that I have. I have this one, that one, that one. This one's a little bit harder to install, but it's because it's bigger and it has a better picture," or something along those lines. In a B2B sales situation, the salesperson is going to make a formal presentation to the individuals or group of customers where they're actually seeing the different products available and getting more of a sales pitch. The next step is to answer any questions or objections. So, a salesperson here should be prepared to overcome the objections or excuses. You would, as a salesperson, want to come up with a list of objections and excuses before the customer has them. "It's too expensive." Your response is, "The quality is good." It's not as good as quality as I wanted, but the price is really good. So you should essentially come up with what we call an objections grid that lists all the different possible objections that a customer come up with, and then an excuse is like a retort to their objection, so that they think, "Well, yeah, it is a little bit more money, but the quality is so much better, and you know what? Maybe I will go with this product." When you handle objections, you should listen to the concerns and respond in the best way to meet the customer's needs. You should empathize with the customer and make sure the customer is satisfied with the results. Don't make them feel stupid for their objections. You should validate them, saying that they're definitely good concerns, but then come back with an excuse as to why they should still buy that product despite any concerns that they might have. The next step is to close the sale. So you're going to look for buying signals. These are verbal or nonverbal signs that a customer is ready to purchase. And then you're going to try to close. Now, there's a lot of different closing or ways that you can make the close. And so these are the different types of closes that could be made. So the first is the assumption close, assuming the customer will purchase. So just by saying, "Do you want me to take this up to the register for you?" as an assumption close. A bonus close would be like, "Well, if you want to buy this now, if you want to buy this iPad now, I'll give you 3 months of Disney Plus." That's throwing in a bonus to try to get them to say, "Yes, I'm going to buy it." A choice close is a customer can choose between two different products. So I've shown you all these different options. Would you like to choose this one or choose that one? Satisfaction close is guaranteeing the customer will like the product. I promise you, when you take this product home, you will not be disappointed. And then leave an opening for them to say if they would like to buy it. A contingent close is dependent on fulfilling a specific condition. Like if I can get the price down to this amount, would you purchase? And they would say yes or no. And a direct close is asking the customer to buy. Do I have your business? And I've gotten that multiple times when trying to sell your car. Or when I was being sold a car. This is what I have for you. This is the price I can offer it to you at. Do I have your business? You want to avoid overselling or promise more than the product or the business can deliver. A lot of times you can lose a sale if that happens. The last step in the sales process is to provide follow up after the sale. The purpose of following up after is to ensure customer satisfaction. It also helps to develop a relationship for sales in the future. Confirmation is contacting the customer after the sale to make sure he or she is satisfied. And sending a thank you note or even calling thanking the customer for their business can go a really long way in ensuring that sales happen in the future or repeat sales happen in the future. If there are problems, the follow up can also be beneficial because then the salesperson can then take the correct steps to make them better and make sure that the customer is going to continue to purchase in the future. Now, not every sales opportunity is actually going to close. And so, when you follow up, customer feedback may provide reasons why the purchase was not made so that you could rectify any of those things in the future. Feedback from coworkers or supervisors on the execution of the sales process may also be helpful. It could be due to factors that are out of your control, like price or wrong product selection or delivery options aren't available on a specific day. However, you just need to keep in mind that you need to have a good attitude, and rejection is part of the process.